So today I want to talk about the villain you made and emotional awareness. I've watched more than my fair share of videos on people's commentary about what she did, how she did, her safety. But one of the things that really stand out to me is the level of emotional control that this woman had in order to carry out this activity, right? So, if you don't know me, my name is Galanda B. I am an emotional awareness coach, and I study all things emotional awareness with a little bit of neuroscience and psychology thrown in. Okay. First of all, people are flabbergasted that she had won the motivation and the courage to go confront this person. And let me say something. When you are emotionally secure, you've already did all of the things, went through all of the scenarios to figure out if your next choice is a good one for you. One thing I appreciate about some of the accounts that I read is that she said, "Hey, this is how it turned out for me, but it may not turn out this way for you." This is so true, right? Like she had already went through all of the necessary research to understand that, yeah, this was the right choice for her, right? Another thing people commented on a lot was her level of calm. Again, this comes from confidence in your own emotional awareness, right? If you know who you are, and if you know whatever the information is that you're trying to convey or pass, there's no reason to get rah rah. There's no reason to get upset. There's no reason to be off kilter, right? This level of emotional control comes from practice. It's not something, I mean, there might be a handful of people who can do this right off the drop, right? But this comes from practice. It comes from practice. And number one, knowing how you feel, right? Being able to acknowledge, identify, and sit with the emotions that you have, right? Next step is okay, I've identified, I've acknowledged, what are my options next? It is not an immediate response, it is not a reaction. It is a calculated analysis of the options available to you. This level of control, I hope for everybody, and not in the way that people, have been commenting, but because it helps you generally make better decisions. Now, I did see some commentary where folks was like, she could have got hurt and all of these things. This is true. I feel fairly confident though that she had went through all of these scenarios, weighed them out, and made the necessary precautions in order to make the best decision for herself, right? Not everybody has the motivation to hold other people accountable, right? Um, Directly. I saw one commenter said, "Hey, I'm not going, but I'm gonna send the people to your house." There's several ways to hold people accountable for their actions, but the key here is her level of emotional control, emotional intelligence is something that is a practice that we all could have if we take a moment to pause. And people were like, "Oh, the speed of it was quick. She did all of this in 3 days." 3 days 72 hours is a long time. It's a really long time. It's a lot of time. You can do a lot in that amount of time. And again, I don't know this for a fact, but I feel pretty confident that the information that she acquired, once she decided she was going to acquire it, probably took her less than 24 hours. Mm-hmm. Probably took her less than 24 hours. And then the additional time was to take that information, incorporate it with her feelings, what she knew was her best decision to make a plan on what she was going to do next. This is what emotional intelligence is. This is what emotional control is. So even though people are lauding, her audacity, I don't necessarily see it as audacity, but okay, go off. However, people have different perspectives. But what I do want to highlight and really give accommodations for is her level of emotional control. Because even when she was speaking, her tone was even. She was not agitated. She understood what she wanted to do, how she wanted to do it, and what the options were if it went one way or the other. So, from the lessons that I'd like to share from the villain you made is get your emotional awareness up, get your emotional control up, learn how to identify your emotions, be aware of your emotions, and then take stock and evaluate them and formulate a response rather than a reaction.